can't talk. Busy gaming. Welcome back. This espresso is working.
All right, it is December 31st.
What time is it?
So early. I'm drinking coffee at noon. And this is I'm calling it our
7th.
I'm calling it our Watchparty Wrapped.
I was going to call it that.
I know
Wow. Yeah, great idea.
It's a 2024 review of all the things that we've watched in this year, which
was underwhelming.
yeah, this comes at a good time because I think we need a resolution to mostly watch things in theaters more. Mm-hmm. So we'll start from the top here. We tried to, before this episode, tally up all the things we saw in theaters this year. Not even just new movies.
Just
that
anything
were
in a movie
which
theater.
We saw several. I will say that. It was the best year we've had of going to see things that we have already seen, but seeing it in a theater. Which, to be fair, I love doing.
Yes.
Like, I would go see a movie in a theater every day.
Yeah.
Even if it was available on Netflix. There's just something so fun about going to a Harkins or an AMC or we live by
it's romantic.
Pollack Cinemas or Majestic Tempe.
Yeah. This was the year of the theater. Just like the atmosphere.
Yeah. But so we did good at seeing movies that have already been released long before.
Some before we were born.
Some before we were born, but we didn't see new movies this year.
Not a lot. And not a lot of new movies that we particularly loved.
That's not true. Well, okay. No,
not
that is
a lot.
True. Yeah, that's actually
for
fair.
me.
Okay, so let's go over. Let's try to put them in order. I think the first thing I saw was Oppenheimer, IMAX,
which was a re-release,
72, which is a re-release.
Yes.
Again, it was like the third time seeing it too. That was, I hate to say it, even though it's like so long ago, might be like one of the best movie experiences I've had in theater specifically. Yeah. Just because I hadn't been to IMAX in so long.
That checks out. You know what else we saw in January? Mm-hmm. For the first time in theaters?
What's that?
Mean Girls, the musical.
That was in January?
That was in January,
wow.
Right after your wisdom teeth got pulled.
So I got my wisdom teeth pulled out. And you were going to see it anyway, right?
With our friend Christine, who you can hear on the Challengers episode.
Yeah.
We had hopes.
And that was, yeah.
I'll get more to it later. It was more so just the sake of an outing when he was drugged up from the wisdom teeth pull.
I was like 48 hours without wisdom. I think I was still feeling the effects of the anesthesia. Mm-hmm. I was like, this is a fever dream. Okay, and then after that, was it...
You know what was in February?
Dune?
No. Oh, maybe.
What was February?
I believe Civil War was February.
Really? I thought that was like... For some reason, I thought that was like over summer. No, because we were going to record a podcast episode on it. We didn't start it in February, did we?
Oh, maybe it was released in February. Maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know the dates we saw these. My bad. I don't know. Forget the timeline.
Okay.
So we saw Dune 2. We saw Challengers.
I think Challengers was... I don't know which one was released first. Dune, Challengers. Well, I didn't see Challengers.
I saw Challengers.
And... We saw Civil War.
Not Marvel. Civil War, A24.
A24. That was at Majestic. A Quiet Place, day one. Mm-hmm. That was over the summer.
Yeah.
So I think Civil War was after that. I feel like we saw that later. Like sometime in like June or July. Because that was in Sedona. We saw that one with Emmanuel. Then, let me think. Did we see We Live in Time...
We saw it like as soon as it came out. I believe so.
Okay. So we saw We Live in Time and then La La Land for my birthday, the re-release in theaters.
Yes, that was awesome.
Then after that would have been, I guess, the Jim Carrey Grinch. Mm-hmm. We saw that one at Tempe Pollack for free.
Yeah.
When they were doing their free Christmas movie day.
If you live in Tempe, it happens sometime in December. It's amazing.
Yeah. Their choices were Elf, Jim Carrey's The Grinch, Christmas Story, and
Vacation.
And
we were going to see Christmas Vacation.
Yeah, and then we made a last minute change for good reason.
Yes.
What Christmas movie would you go see again in theaters?
Out of those 4?
Yeah, because last year we saw a Christmas movie in theaters too at Tempe Pollock.
It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life.
I love It's a Wonderful Life.
Which that was really good.
Out of those 4 that you listed, I would either do Christmas Vacation because for some reason my family loves that movie, and every time I've seen it, I've napped. I've never seen the whole thing. So either that one because I think in a theater I would have stayed up, or Christmas Story because you hadn't seen it and I'd love to see what you thought. Which you
did fall asleep during it this year.
It's weird. Like I don't have anything against it. I literally fall asleep every time. It's always a new experience. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah. Well, now I know what to put on when you
need
can't
to sleep.
Yeah.
There was one I forgot to mention that was earlier this year.
What's that?
Inside Out 2.
Oh yeah, true.
Without you, I'm sorry.
You did see that one without me. And we'll get to that one later. But which you can now I think watch it at home, correct?
Correct.
Okay. The other thing that we Tempe Pollock was doing that I was interested in was an Inside Out 1 and 2 double feature. But the more I was thinking about it, I'm not as...
That's a long day.
That's a long day.
To meditate on feelings.
Yeah, and I'm not convinced that is necessary for that movie. No. I haven't seen Inside Out 2, so I don't really know that. But
no, you're good.
Just understanding the concept of it, it's like...
I think it could have been cute. Maybe for like a family with little kids. That could be a fun outing.
Yeah, I guess.
It's like $7.
Okay.
And then you said Muppet Christmas Carol?
Muppet Christmas Carol we saw next.
Yes.
Or no, did we see Interstellar? No, we saw Muppet Christmas Carol. Saw that one at Tempe Pollock.
Mm-hmm.
Which was funny. I don't know if I said this in the moment, but do you remember hearing what was going on next door? I can't remember what it was.
Loud?
It was something like some explosions in the movie next door.
Yeah.
It might have been like Gladiator or something. I don't know. Or Transformers, maybe, I think it was. But it was like rumbling the song with Tiny Tim.
Yeah.
And
oh, no.
Kermit the Frog and like, walking down. And it was next door. Anyway.
It sounded like you were about to sing the Arthur theme song. When you're walking down the street and everybody that you meet.
We'll do an episode on that. Okay, and then a last one we saw this year, which there's an episode coming out on this, which is the Interstellar re-release. Correct? That's the last one we saw. Mm-hmm. Also in IMAX. Mm-hmm. So to give me props, I started the year and ended the year in IMAX.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are we going to see in the beginning of 2025
I don't know.
On IMAX?
Wicked. And your bones are rattling. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that should be a thing.
Well, I think we should at least do one. Maybe end the year in IMAX every year. Because I feel like there's better movies released in Christmas time, like Christmas releases, than there is like beginning of January. Yeah. Well, I don't know.
I like seeing a re-release in IMAX. I like knowing before I commit to the big screen. You know, we could see on the big screen today.
What's that?
Have you ever seen Gremlins?
Yeah. A long time ago.
They're showing it, I think, at the Cine Capri for New Year's Eve.
Which some people regard as a Christmas movie.
Yeah. And some people regard it as my mother's least favorite movie ever.
Why is it her least favorite?
It freaks her out.
Like the Gremlins?
Yeah.
Well, now I know what not to get her for Christmas. Yep. Yeah. Any other ones? You saw one this year another one that I did not, a re-release.
16 Candles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. That was my birthday outing. I usually try to see a movie on my birthday, but there was a re-release of 16 Candles on the big screen like the day before, and I had never seen it on the big screen. So it was fun, but also there's something about seeing an outdated movie in a theater that just like draws your attention to everything wrong with it.
Oh, because you're so focused on it.
Well, just like it's a nostalgic movie, and so when I think of watching that movie, like I watch it at home. Like I
Right.
remember watching on DVD or VHS with my mom, like other things are happening.
The movie is scratched. There's cooking
Yeah.
going on.
But having to watch the uncut version on a big screen, surrounded by families that might have never seen it before, I was like, oh shoot, like I forgot about that part, or oh that doesn't look good. And so for anyone who hasn't seen it, just have that disclaimer. It's a classic. It's nostalgic, but there's a lot wrong with it, and I am very aware of that.
That's fair.
So, but that was my birthday outing.
That's sweet. Yeah, 2 birthday outings, 2 birthday movies, which was
That's the goal.
16 Candles and La La Land. Did we say that one? So, yeah, we did.
Mm-hmm.
La La Land in theaters. Do you have a favorite out of those ones that you've seen in theaters this year?
I would say Interstellar. That was like,
wow.
Okay. Despite my uneducated self if you listen to the Interstellar episode, it sounds like I just sat there confused. My mind was blown. There was a lot I didn't understand, but it was probably one of the most beautiful experiences I've had in a theater. So,
do you think that has to do with the IMAX screen and it being on 70 millimeter? Do you feel like that just has to do with...
It has to do with seeing it in the theater because I watched part of it with you a long, long time ago, but it was just like streaming. We were cooking.
It was
like
a small TV. I remember. Yeah.
I didn't really like absorb it and catch a lot.
Yeah.
And so I think seeing that one on the big screen, similar to Oppenheimer, like that would have sucked to see Oppenheimer for the first time at home. Like you just really have to focus in to appreciate everything and like follow along. So yeah, that was probably like my favorite theater experience this year.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
The 3 that I was going to choose from was Oppenheimer, Interstellar, and La La Land.
I feel like you got to say Oppenheimer. I didn't see it on IMAX this year. If I did, I'm sure that would have been my top.
Yeah, it was. Man, big year for Christopher Nolan. Even though he didn't even release a movie this year.
I know. It was a big year for us and Christopher
Yeah,
Nolan.
it was.
He was our top artist of the year.
Man, that could be its own podcast, is us and Chris. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
I will say La La Land in theaters was...
That was awesome.
Really cool because I think it felt nostalgic for me and like sort of bittersweet because I saw that in theaters by myself in high school. And actually, now that I think about it, I saw it at Chandler Fashion Harkins in high school.
That's where I saw it for the first time in high school.
Maybe we were at the same theater.
Maybe we were.
Maybe we went to the same showing and you sat on one side and I sat on the other side.
Too bad we weren't dating.
Yeah.
That could have been a fun meet cute.
So that was up there. But it does
but Oppenheimer
it does
takes
have
the
to
cake.
be Oppenheimer. Yeah.
So neither of ours were movies that came out this year that we saw in theaters.
But part of it was too though that like Oppenheimer I had seen already, I think twice at that point. So I understood it really more. And then I was seeing it in film and I was seeing it on IMAX and I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to look for the things. I feel like I understand the movie and I understand the plot. I'm not trying to like figure things out, which like in, I think those kinds of movies, historical context and Christopher Nolan movies, like you're trying to figure out what the hell is going on. But this time I wasn't worried about that. I was just like focusing on how he tells the story and the fashion in which he does it. So yeah, Oppenheimer's number 1 for me.
Not Dune 2?
No, but that,
You had a good year for movies.
Man, Dune 2 was special though.
He's
if I was
gonna
gonna,
tear.
Yeah, man, okay. Maybe. No, I'm going to stick with Oppenheimer,
Okay.
but I will say
Theater
if I was going to
experience.
go take someone to the theater, like to experience it with somebody else, I would take them to see Dune. I liked Oppenheimer myself, but like people I've talked to have said like I didn't like Oppenheimer. And I'm like,
And that's why
fair.
we don't talk to them anymore.
You're no. I said like your criticism is valid. Or like your opinion is valid. I just really liked it for what it was, and like
You're so nice.
but Dune 2 is like an objectively good experience.
What?
For like
Whoa.
action and action franchises. Yes.
What? It was so much slower than Oppenheimer. I
Dune
would take
2?
someone to Oppenheimer with me.
Before you take them
Yes,
to Dune.
if I had a friend that's taking to the theater, I could say we could sit down for 2 hours, and you could see Oppenheimer. Or you can sit down for 3 hours trying to figure out.
Okay, I don't know which one's longer, but I'm gonna bet that they're around the same length.
Well, I disagree with you. I'd take a friend to Oppenheimer.
Okay.
I'd sit separately so I can react emotionally as I want to, but
I'll tell you what. Regardless, big year for Florence Pugh.
Big year.
Who's in
We
both.
love Flo. Oh.
So, wow, that's crazy. So we've seen 3 movies.
Yeah.
That's what we should have done. That's actually interesting.
Our top Florence.
Our top actors or actresses. It's got to be Florence. 3 movies.
Yeah. Haven't seen the Bob Dylan movie yet, so I don't know if Timothy's on my list.
Yeah. But that'll be for 2025.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to the second part. Unless you have anything else you want to talk about.
Nope,
Things we saw in theaters.
I'm ready.
All right.
Oh. Did you want us to say movies we saw for the first time at home?
I mean,
no?
I feel like there's a lot more than that, so I can't even think of all of them. Like I tried thinking through them,
I only
but
have 5.
we saw way more than that.
Well,
Movies at home?
for the first time.
Okay. Yeah, go for it. What
want me to
5
say
do you
mine?
have? Yeah.
Okay, I'll say the ones I saw with you first.
Okay.
Self-Reliance
Mm.
with Jake Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Prince of Egypt was the first time I saw it since I was like 3.
Okay.
So I put that on my list.
Fair.
Jury Duty.
Uh-huh.
Wait a minute.
Which is a series, which we weren't. I was actually going to bring that up. Is
Oh.
that was a
This whole time, I was thinking
thinking
that
it
was
was a
one of my
movie.
favorite movies this year. It felt like a movie.
it does, doesn't it?
Wait.
That was a series. Which
What?
let's get to that in
Okay.
a second here.
Sorry, I'm.
Jury Duty wasn't. Yeah, it was episodes.
Wow, they got me good. That felt like a movie.
But it feels like it.
We watched it. Like
That's
a movie.
probably the best compliment you could give. That's not true, but that is a compliment to a TV show of like that. I was so locked in,
Yeah.
and these episodes felt so connected that it was able to feel like it was one watch.
Yeah, I think it felt like a movie too, cause like.
We watched like 3 at a time too.
Yeah.
So it's probably around the same length.
It's just, it was so good. Man, I thought that was a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Woo. Okay. My bad. And then I
Yes.
saw for the first time all the way through You've Got Mail and Sleepless in Seattle.
Here's one that I think you saw for the first time this year too. El Dorado.
Oh gosh. I did. I forgot about that. Oh, I forgot about
When
that.
you said Prince of Egypt, I thought that's what you were going to say next because they're like, I don't know if they're both DreamWorks, but they're both like similar style. Real quick, what was your impression of El Dorado?
I have
And
to
then what
move
was your
some
impression
things.
of Prince of Egypt? Because those are going to be wildly different responses.
Prince of Egypt, I sobbed.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. It was a masterpiece. And I've seen these movies when I was little, but they over time melted into one memory.
Yeah.
Like I thought they were the same thing, and they are clearly not. So Prince of Egypt, flawless. Soundtrack is 10 out of 10. Steve Martin Short, amazing.
It
so
is
good.
a stacked vocal
Yes.
cast. The voices on that are unreal, and it's just like so. Even though it was made, I don't know when, years and years ago.
I feel like 90s.
Yeah, it is a beautiful and I think pretty honest portrayal of somebody reading the Exodus story.
Yeah.
And like, I'm sure it obviously takes giant artistic liberties and, out of the scripture, but like the heart of the movie seems to be really close to what we understand the book of Exodus and the figure of Moses to be.
Yeah.
And like,
It's just so well done.
I saw something on, I can't remember if it was like Twitter or Instagram, some social media a while ago that was like, it's an insane ending to that movie. I don't know if you remember that. The ending of Prince of Egypt, he comes down the mountain. Mm-hmm. He's holding the 2 tablets with the 10 Commandments. And if you like continue reading the book of Moses, he comes down to them worshiping like a golden calf and having all these idols. And so like,
but it doesn't show that, right? It ends with the tablet.
No, it just ends with him coming down the mountain.
It's probably the
which is like, a good like ending.
It's a good ending.
For someone like to keep them interested and want to learn more.
Yeah.
But yeah, what
But
would the
sequel
Prince
would
of
be
Egypt
crazy.
2 would be wild. Which there is a like a not sequel movie, but it's the same creators, and I want to say it's Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat. I can't remember. We watched it when I was really little, or maybe it's Jacob and the 12 Tribes of Israel. I can't remember. It didn't do as well, but it was like the same idea. So, sorry, moving on. El Dorado.
Shock factor. I forgot it was DreamWorks. Again, I kept associating El Dorado with Prince of Egypt. So I was like, what biblical story? What Old Testament tale is this going to be? And I was like, what is going on? It's DreamWorks. So it's a little spicy sometimes. Yeah, it was all right. It was, I don't know. I'm sure I liked it as a kid, but yeah, seeing it as an adult, I think I kept comparing it to Prince of Egypt because I kept associating them together. So I was a little bit like, what the heck is this?
It's got some questions. It's got some moments where you're like, how does a children's movie get away with this?
Yeah. But, and it's not as memorable. Like, I'm struggling to remember the storyline. I'm sure I liked it. I don't remember it as well. So I guess I didn't like it as much.
Yeah. It was just one that we had on DVD when I was little, or we would like rent it. It was like a, not Disney, but Disney cartoon. Like, it's just like animated classic. Yeah. And I just never questioned it. And then, it's come into more like, it's come into pop culture semi recently of like, hey, how was everyone watching this?
The children found it.
Yeah. Any other movies that we saw at home that you want to give a shout out to? Self-Reliance with Jake Johnson was really good. Anna Kendrick. It's kind of a crazy ending. Yeah.
Those were all the ones I remembered for at home.
We saw more. I can't think of it. When Harry Met Sally.
I love When Harry Met Sally. I didn't put it because I've seen it.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd seen it before.
This year might have been your first time seeing it.
I feel like I'd seen like still images, and people always talk about the fashion within it and the costumes, which are like
so good.
Really great.
Yeah, maybe I feel like I remember being sick and making you watch it with me.
Yeah. I think that was this year.
I love that movie.
If not, it was last year, but that's a really great movie. One that we should shout out, especially now, it being a New Year's movie. Yeah, maybe that'll be
I gotta watch it before the New Year ends. Or maybe that'll be my first movie I watch of 2025.
That'd be good. We can talk about them more as we go through because I have included them in some of my lists, but TV shows that we watched, the big ones.
Well, Jury Duty was a big one, I guess, for me.
There's 4 that come to mind specifically. I'm pretty sure. And correct me if these are not.
List them? I don't remember.
Year. Only Murders in the Building.
Okay.
Is this year. Season 4, which we have an episode on. Jury Duty. Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure that was this year. I don't know if it wasn't released this year, but we watched it this year.
Oh, that one was good.
And then The Bear was this summer too.
Shoot.
I have that. I know. I have that on some of my list.
This is hard because I feel like then I have to rank shows in their own category.
Yeah, that is fair. I'm ranking them as like one sort of project. Okay. Like The Bear season 3 or is it 3 or 2? I think it's season 2.
I'll let you do that. I'm down to talk about them, but they're not on my list because
that's fair.
That's too hard for me to compare.
That's okay. Yeah.
But I'm down to talk about all of those.
Yeah. All, I think, other than Jury Duty, all renewed for a new season.
Nobody Wants This renewed for a new season.
Oh, Nobody Wants This too. We saw that one too. But also really great.
Yep.
Anything else on Netflix I feel like that we would have seen?
We've been watching Starting 5, but I don't know if we can count it since we didn't finish it yet.
Yeah. And it's like a documentary, which is a great category of film, don't get me wrong, but
I watched the Michael Jordan documentary for the first time.
Oh, The Last Dance? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's actually touch on that for a second.
That's why there's got to be subcategories.
Yeah, what was your impression
was so good.
of The Last Dance?
I'm totally impressed. I'm totally impressed. First of all, like it makes me appreciate like all the technology we have to capture so much footage because that series was like how many episodes long?
I think it's 10 episodes.
Yeah, and there was so much good footage in there, and like the quality was gorgeous. I don't know if it's just because we're like, we love shooting in film, and so maybe we appreciate it differently. But yeah, I just thought it was gorgeous, and the interviews I thought were really great. They interviewed so many people, so I felt like it just brought a lot more to the table. But I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, I thought the like color correction and even just like the thematically the colors were really cool.
That was like a stunning docuseries.
Yeah, visually, but also, I mean, he's just like
he's an icon.
He's an icon, and he's like, it explains a lot about basketball today, I think.
Yes.
Which is fair, but yeah, just going through all that footage must have taken so long. It makes sense that it took this long to put together. And another thing too that I don't know if we talked about when we watched it was like that was released during like COVID, like during it was like that summer or that spring that like COVID happened, and so everybody was trapped in their houses, and we're watching this as it came out episode by episode. I think to be fair, like we shoot film photography, like we shoot stills, which is like not the same. Which is a cool thing. It makes me blown away at how much archival footage there is of everything. Basketball specifically, though, on like, I shot this
like a handheld
before digital. Yeah. And granted, like digital did come into play at some point within Michael Jordan's career, but like, the early footage of him as a kid and playing at North Carolina is, it's just like, I don't know how you archive that, maintain it.
It's amazing.
How you transfer that. It's beautiful. The Bear, phenomenal. I don't recommend it.
That was crazy.
I don't recommend it to people who have worked in restaurants or the service industry.
Or you're currently going through a major family crisis.
Yeah. Or anybody who is like in the depths of sorting out personal family trauma. Not a good.
Like deep in.
Yeah.
Every family's got their stuff, but if you're deep in the trenches, don't watch this right now.
Yeah. Don't watch it before or after talking to your therapist. But it is phenomenal, and it's I think the show that has the biggest emotional effect on me. Not in like I'm so sad, but like watching it, especially that first season, but this one too is like the episodes are so stressful that when there's a release or when there's something funny that happens, like it hits even harder.
I love
so it's both
this season for just like the zoom ins on the like characters now, because I think the first one does a good job of like setting up who Carmi is, setting up the backstory of his family, his brother, what's the vision with the restaurant, and now it's like there's a vision set, and so now we can have like episodes where we just focus in on this character and their story, and I love those kinds of episodes. So I love this season for that kind of character focus. Yeah,
the birth episode in that one is phenomenal, and Maddie Matheson's character is probably like legitimately might be like my favorite character of 2024. Yes. If we can nominate one, that's my nomination. He's the best. Okay. Any other Jury Duty? Phenomenal.
So good. I thought it was a movie.
Thought it was a movie. You just got to go watch it. I won't give the explanation for it.
And we saw Mecky Lepper this year, so I think I just kept thinking, like,
that's true.
Like, we saw his movie. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so good.
Abbott Elementary, we watched a lot of this year, but it's still coming out.
Yeah.
Any other TV shows? Nobody Wants This. Really
we
great.
Were surprised.
Yeah, very surprised by that one.
We usually don't watch like a romance comedy show, but it was great.
And we watched that one around when we saw We Live in Time, so I felt like it was just like rom-coms are back.
This is the year of falling in love, you know? Just let's see people fall in love.
Yeah. All right, any other? I'm sure that there was, but let's say we move on.
Your turn.
Okay, movies that you missed this year. there was a lot of movies that I have on mine that we didn't see
2.
that I wish we did. I'll start with mine first because it's one that you've seen, which is Inside Out 2. I still haven't seen it, and I loved Inside Out 1. So it just bears mentioning that Inside Out 2 is one that I have to see pretty soon. And I'm okay seeing that at home. I'm not like upset I didn't see it in theaters.
Yeah.
You know, Pixar's great anywhere. Yeah. What do you have?
I have 2.
Okay.
1, I think we might still have time, but I just realized we never got around to seeing Saturday Night.
That was going to be my next one. I was like, maybe she has this on her list.
I was really excited for that one. I don't know what happened. I think we made plans. Like, I think we told multiple friends, like, let's see Saturday Night together. And then it, like, we should have just seen it. Yeah. So to anyone we said we were going to see it with, I'm so sorry. I'm really bad at planning.
Yeah.
I forgot about it. And I was really excited.
We love Saturday Night Live, too, just as its own thing. Like, we watch that probably every week on YouTube, just like the recap of the whole show. Even when we don't know the guests, we don't know the hosts, we're like, well, let's just watch it and see what's funny. We love the cast. And so, like, it's right up our alley, and we never got to see it.
I'm sure it will be good at home, too, though.
That's fair. Not one I feel like you have to see in theaters.
Yeah, like, I'm not, like...
Not an experiential thing.
Yeah, it's not that I regret not seeing it in theaters. It's more so, I can't believe I went this long without seeing it.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Lamorne Morris, Winston from New Girl, and I'm excited to see, I think Dylan O'Brien is in it, too.
Whoa.
I've also read some stuff on... And by read, I mean I saw it on Twitter, that Chevy Chase did not like it. That he was like, he told, like, he really hated it and like voiced that to the director.
Okay,
that, like, it's not accurate, which, like,
maybe that's
it's a
why
movie, buddy.
I've forgotten about it too. I haven't heard a lot of reviews on it.
No, I haven't either. I don't think it was very big. Like, I don't think it had a huge budget, and I don't think it was like a super anticipated movie. I don't even know if it'll get nominated.
Yeah. Maybe I keep thinking the rest of the world adores SNL, and I'm like, oh, we're in a little world.
No, I just like it. And
people just like Domingo. If you know, you know. People don't like SNL. They like Domingo.
They want more of Domingo. Okay, I have 3 more.
Okay, I know that my other one is on your list. So should I say it?
Oh, it is? Oh, okay. Yeah. Is it Monkey Man?
I put specifically Monkey Man over Civil War. And we'll get to that later. It's not that I'm like, man, I wish we saw Monkey Man. It's just I know that those were our 2 options, and I deeply regret seeing Civil War.
We'll get to that one later. But okay, yeah, Monkey Man was on my list.
But I heard good things.
I heard really good things. And I do wish we had seen that in theaters. Yeah. That seems like one that just based off of the trailer and the posters, like the colors would have been phenomenal to experience firsthand in a theater. Yeah. And like, I think on top of romance, it's a big year for like, maybe not big year, but it's a big year for action. Like, I want to go see explosions. I want to go see some big fights.
Okay.
In theaters.
You can go do that.
And that's funny too, because my other one was Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Have fun. Tell me how it goes.
That one seems like one I want to see on the big screen. They're not like, let me clarify. They're similar to the Transformers series, or some people think the Fast and Furious are like this, and I don't. But they're series that, like, I recognize are not good. Like, they're not quality stories that you're like enveloped in, but just seeing a couple of apes like fight and seeing the action, and especially Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes has some pretty insane motion capture technology. So seeing that play out on the big screen would have been good. And I have fond memories of seeing that with Emmanuel, going to see those movies, just because we didn't have anything better to do. So that one's on my list. And then I have 2 other ones that are more recent, and it's mostly just because I've heard reviews on these recently.
Honora
is
Oh,
one. Yeah.
yeah.
Which I learned something about that I didn't. We watched that trailer together. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
We watched that trailer and we were like, this looks
The trailer's super
strange.
vague.
Yeah.
I don't think you can tell a lot from it.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I learned a little bit more about it. I won't go too deep into it.
I heard a lot
'cause
about
it's got
it from
some-
a podcast too.
Yeah. It's like a modern day Cinderella.
Like Pretty Woman.
Is that what Pretty Women is? I don't think
It's
I've
supposed
seen
to
it.
be, I think, about like sex work and romance.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
part of it too. But I think like the story dynamics are Cinderella.
Oh. Okay, yeah, I didn't hear that.
Maybe I'm wrong. I just like I heard somebody talking about it, and that's how they described it, and I was like,
Huh.
now I'm interested.
Yeah, I didn't know a lot about it. I either heard people saying they thought it was going to be like Pretty Woman and it wasn't, or it's like a modern Pretty Woman.
Okay.
But either way, I do want to see it.
I want to see what they have to say about it. Yeah, I've heard nothing but like this blew me away.
This was A24 or Neon?
I have no idea.
Oh, either way. Yeah, I heard mixed reviews. I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
I heard the actress is great. Whether people liked it or not, I want to see how the story plays out.
Yeah. Honora was one. The other one was The Substance.
Yeah.
Have you heard?
I heard really good things.
I heard really good things about it. I've heard that I don't know exactly what it is, but somebody was talking about the ending of it.
Oh.
And they're like, it's like not gory or graphic, but it's just like a lot.
Yeah.
And some people were like, it's over the top, but it's still really, really great.
Yeah, I heard it was really good.
Is that one you want to see together?
I was a little anxious.
You were
So
worried
if
about
we
it?
go,
Well, it's streaming. It's not like
okay.
I don't think it's in theaters. So
Maybe
we could watch it
during
at
the
home
day.
during the day. Okay. Or somewhere we don't have anything else going
I
on.
want to have safe boundaries set
And
up.
we can have something else queued up. That's fun if we don't like it.
I feel so safe here.
Yeah. Those were my movies we missed this year. So our New Year's resolution is to see more movies in theaters, but also catch up on the ones we missed this year.
Yeah. Do you want to do most anticipated next?
Well, I just wanted to finish off the Wrapped thing, and then we can give our own opinions on things. There is a couple of articles that I read in preparation for this on what the this year's records. And I just wanted to get your opinion on this. This is pretty wild. The highest grossing domestic box office movie this year. So a movie that was released in theaters domestically in the United States made the most money. Any guesses?
Wicked or Moana 2?
Okay. Wicked is third.
Oh.
Moana 2 is fourth.
Oh.
I found this really interesting.
Is this a movie we saw?
I'm not going to say that because that's going to give it away. I will say it's one that we have already talked about.
Inside Out 2?
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah. I guess that makes sense. It's a Disney.
It's been out longer.
It's a Disney movie. It's been out for a while. It probably had a really great opening weekend. That weekend, I think that it came out. Like
nothing else came out.
It wasn't up against any other big competition. Number 2 also makes sense. And this is a film, I didn't put it on my list, but I would watch it if I had like a free afternoon or something, or just wanted to relax. Number 2, any guesses?
Something you'd want to relax.
Like not a movie I'm like
Super
overly
pumped.
excited to. It's just like, oh, that'd be it, and it's funny, sort of. It's hard. That's
no idea.
That's a bad explanation. Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh.
I'm not lining up to go see that midnight
The
premiere.
Letterboxd reviews are funny.
But like, yeah, it probably is just like a culturally, just like, oh, throw that on. That's funny. Other interesting notices on the top 10. Dune Part 2, 7th. Movies that did better.
Wow.
Despicable Me 4.
Whoa. That's
5th.
That should be a subcategory. What's your favorite movie that did better in box office than Dune 2?
Yeah. Which, well, I mean, like, Dune Part 2 is great. It was 7th.
Dude, these are a lot of
Beetlejuice
kids
did better
movies.
than that. I think that's part of it.
Are there more families going to the theaters now than like young adults?
Maybe. I mean, like a younger generation of people who have access to the internet and digital technology. It's much easier to advertise. It's much easier to like in advertising get a kid to get excited about Despicable Me 4 or Moana or Inside Out 2 and like get them to beg their parents to go see it, and then now that you're at theaters, well, my siblings, my older brother wants to go too, my younger sister, and then you might go see it multiple times because your kids love it so much.
But then the adults who want to see Wicked and Gladiator 2 can only afford to go maybe once. This is what that's what I think is happening.
It's multiple viewings?
Yes. That's what I think is happening. Think of like people who have kids and can afford to go to the movies, so they take their kid, and then the kid's cousin wants to see it, and the family can afford to see it again with the cousin or play date. Well, and then you're the adult, even if the adult doesn't want to see the movie or didn't like it, they have to pay a ticket.
Yeah. Every kid that goes to see it who cannot drive themselves or can't pay for themselves is counting as 2 tickets bought because their parents are also going to see it. Versus Wicked,
like it's young adults who maybe get
young
to go
adults and
see
people
it
who
once.
really loved the musical, but it's not,
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
So if anyone's trying to make money off of movies, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you want to go with your heart or do you want to go with kids?
You want to go with kids. Twisters is at 8.
I forgot about that. Did you end up seeing it with your dad?
No, I didn't.
Is that one you regret not seeing?
No.
I heard it was good.
I did too. I'm not like.
I heard a lot of people who did not care about it or were not excited about it. It made it onto like
their
top movies of the year. Yeah.
Really?
But no regrets.
I think it was coming out at a time when, for clarity, I work at a TV station, and my main project at that time, and one of my main priorities was the Weather Channel, and they were talking about it, and I was like, I've seen tornadoes before. I'm not.
Yeah.
It was like taking my work home.
Yeah.
With me. So I was like,
I forgot that was this year.
Yeah, that was this year, and at 10, Kung Fu Panda 4.
Makes sense.
Also,
I heard it was great.
Yeah.
Letterboxd gave some pretty good reviews.
Oh, I don't think it came out this year. Did it? Oh, maybe it did. Yeah, it did. Okay, here's one that I saw in theaters this year that you didn't. I took Emmanuel to see Madam Web.
I went.
You did?
I didn't like it.
Did you go with us?
Dakota Johnson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why did I think I
Remember
just saw
we
that with
both
Emmanuel?
didn't like it.
Yeah, we did not like, and Emmanuel loved it. Because, yeah.
We both walked out like,
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so there's our 10th. We were trying to listen. We could only get up to 9 we saw this year.
The movies we saw that were new, we were disappointed by more of them.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's a weird year for movies.
It definitely was less ones that I loved, and I was like, wow, I'm so glad I saw that in theaters.
Yeah, wasn't
less this year than before.
I will say though, as two people who are like looking back on movies we didn't see, we are fortunate enough to live by Pollock Theater. If you live in Arizona and you're like, man, I wish I could see that in theaters.
Yeah.
Their whole thing is it's cheaper tickets because they re-release them in their theater later. So I don't feel super regretful because we can see it for cheaper later on.
Very fair. Very fair.
But yeah.
Okay.
It's an okay year.
Oh, most streamed TV shows?
Oh, we already know. Bluey.
There's 2. Yeah, there's 2. So Bluey was up there, but then ones that were coming out, this was most watched TV show like that was airing on television. Any idea?
Abbott?
No.
That was airing on television.
This is kind of a tough one because I don't know if you knew this. Yellowstone.
Oh. Yeah.
I've heard good things about that.
Yeah.
I have not looked into it too much, but I've been recommended it a couple times.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of time. It's like it's the same issue I have with the full Game of Thrones. I've seen the first 2 seasons and like it's good. It's entertaining, but I don't want to commit.
You watch those when you're homesick and you have to watch something.
If I have all the time in the world.
Yeah.
I almost watched them all during COVID just because I didn't have anything else to do. But it's not good enough to demand that much time from me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Here's an interesting one too. Do you want to take a guess on the most watched live events, or just most watched like on television? There's an easy one. Like there's an obvious first answer.
The Super Bowl?
Yes.
Okay.
Super Bowl,
I thought that was too obvious.
Kansas City, San Fran, 121 million viewers.
That's it?
That is it. It's on CBS. Then the next, let me look. The next 10, the top 10 are all NFL Sunday.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? They're all like 20 million viewers plus. It's
America
all the way
loves
up to
sports.
11, and then 12th is not a sports event. Do you want to guess the 12th?
I'm trying to think of events. Like, do the debates count?
Yes, the presidential debate is
Okay.
12th. Good.
Yeah.
13th is the Oscars.
The Olympics?
The Olympics comes in at 16.
16?
Yeah, 16.
What?
Summer Olympics,
16?
Sunday Prime, week 1. I'm assuming that's
Not
like the
even
opening
top
ceremony.
10. Weird.
Doesn't even crack the top 15.
So we're learning a lot about America today.
Yeah.
America's got a lot of little kids, and America loves football.
Loves football.
There's a lot of dads in
You're
America.
not gonna
That's what I
mess
learned.
with- yeah. Plus, everybody's got Sunday off.
These
So
stats
football's
are
got
really
it made.
eye-opening.
Like they own, you go to church in the morning and then you come home and watch football all day.
America's run by dads that work 9 to 5.
Yep.
That's what I learned today.
Here's an interesting one. 18th is another sports event that we watched.
The World Series.
Yes,
That
Game
was
5, Dodgers Yankees.
Wait, that made it on what ranking?
That made it at 18th.
That's it.
That's it.
What? A regular Sunday football game had more views?
Oh yeah,
That is
NFL Wild
crazy.
Card, NFL Sunday Night Football, Baltimore Buffalo on September 29th.
That is.
This is according to Variety.com. So
the World
take that
Series
what you
was
will.
more important than those games.
yeah, but it didn't draw enough viewers. I don't know what to tell you.
I'm learning a lot about our country today.
Other interesting one, 19th comes in at the 66th Grammys. After that, it's all like NFL, college football, Game 4, Summer Olympics. So anyway, just thought you would think that's interesting and says a lot about America. Well, what would you hope makes the number one watch?
Well, I'm just shocked. Like most of that was football.
It's a lot of money.
That's
in
a
football.
lot of concussions.
It's a lot of concussions. It's a lot of marketing.
Jeez.
It's a lot of betting.
A lot of sports betting.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It doesn't really matter to me if I'm putting like hundreds of dollars down on the Cardinals money line, which I'm not. But if I was betting on NFL, I'm gonna watch that more than I care about watching the Grammys or something else, because that's not going to affect my pockets.
Yeah.
I hear you. I'm with you, but it's
you
gotta
all about the money.
gotta
Money.
take it for what it is. Okay, let's talk about the worst things we watched this year.
Okay.
I have one that you're not going to like.
Okay.
You're not going to agree with my choice here.
Okay.
I almost picked Madam Web.
Okay. I forgot we saw that this year.
Yeah. And if I had to pick something in theaters, that might be it. But my number one worst thing that we watched was April 9th at Footprint Center, Suns versus Clippers.
That doesn't count.
Yes, it does.
That doesn't count.
It was a watch party.
What?
We watched it, didn't we? Did we not?
In person?
Yeah. So if we're going to talk about the worst things we watched this year.
That doesn't count.
I told you weren't going to like this.
I can talk about something I watched happen on the street.
Yeah, that's
No, you're making this too general, too
All right.
big.
fine.
That does not count.
I just wanted to air my grievance.
You
that
also
was the
didn't
worst,
watch most of the game.
The worst live event.
You didn't watch most of the game.
Yeah, because it was horrible.
Exactly,
Because
so you
we
didn't
only
even
scored
watch
9
it.
points in the first quarter.
Oh my gosh.
All right, fine. If I had to pick, then I
You
would
have too much
choose
control.
Civil War.
Cool. I put Civil
Actually,
War.
no, I'm not choosing Civil War. I'm choosing Madam Web.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm putting Civil War. I didn't think I could be traumatized by a movie. I'm not trying to use that word like jokingly or lightly. Like that was awful. I did not enjoy viewing it. the story did not matter enough to me to go through all the terrible things we had to watch on that big screen. I was hiding in my chair, sobbing. It was not good. It was not good.
Yeah. I was thinking about this when we were talking about it the other day. We were talking about it with somebody, with friends of ours, and I gotta say, it wasn't the worst movie I had seen this year. I think I'm actually changing my answer, and I'll get to what it is now that I'm
Suns
thinking it through.
versus Clippers. My gosh,
that was my number one choice.
This is serious.
Civil War. Okay, I think the tough thing experiencing it in theaters, the sound mixing I felt like was wild. Like it was
too real.
The bullets and like the shooting was so loud.
Yes.
Like
also,
I get the move.
Pause. Just to clarify for anyone listening, this is not Civil War Marvel.
This is not Captain America Civil War. This is Civil War, the A24 film directed by, I think, Alex Garland.
This is a movie I'm hoping you did not hear about and that you're not going to watch.
Okay, so let's talk about why you chose Monkey Man, because when we saw it, that was the other
more violent to me.
The other choice that we were like, should we go see Civil War? Should we go see what else is in theaters right now? Monkey Man. We almost saw it, and I really wanted to see that. Yeah. I love that actor. I love the directing, the producing crew, and I was like, the
story was better.
Let's go see that. I was really excited for it. And
that's
then
my regret. Biggest regret.
Civil War's A24. Can we go see that? And we were like,
that was my reasoning. I thought it just looked more like digestible.
I told you, I was like, I told you like Monkey Man I'd like to see, but here's what else is available. And you were like, what's Civil War? And I was like, oh, that's an A24 film. And you were like, oh, like that sounds really good. And I was
no, am I a brand girly? I remember it looked more digestible. I remember the Monkey Man trailer that looked more violent to me. There was a lot of like red lighting. I was just like, oh no, there's gonna be blood everywhere. And I made the biggest mistake ever.
Yeah, that was
biggest regret of 2024.
I just remember looking over and you were like,
I should have seen
face to this armrest because you just did not want to look. It's a violent and like shocking movie. There's parts of it that are terrifying, and I think it's about political unrest, which was another large theme of this year. So like,
but I think
it hits home a little harder.
I get it, what they were trying to say about America.
Yeah.
Like, we already know. Like, I don't.
We're experiencing this.
It's how I feel about another movie we did not see, and I don't regret not seeing it. And, like, literally, no hate on anyone who did. It ends with us. I did not have the desire to see it because maybe I'm wrong. But as far as I understand, like, a big part of that movie is about, like, relationships and the complications of like domestic violence. I am aware of that. Like, I don't need to see it played out in front of me. And like, I feel like with Civil War, like, I get it, what they were trying to say about America. Let's have some subtle metaphors. Let's try to be a little bit more creative. All right. I don't need to see people get shot in front of me over and over again. I get it. So it just seemed so unnecessary. Seemed like a waste of money and time.
Well, yeah,
that's my hot take.
Part of my viewing experience was I was worried about you because you were clearly not having a good time and like it was like I was under distress, and you really wanted to stay
because we spent $5 each.
We spent $5 on tickets.
Yeah.
It was a movie we could have left though, and I will say like the movie was interesting. I did think like the performances are noteworthy. Jesse Plemons, the guy with the blonde hair who in the movie like stops them and he's like, what kind of American are you? Do you remember that? That was it was so unsettling, but it's an amazing talent.
I will let you have your opinion. I hear you.
I enjoyed parts of it. I did not like the ending. I thought it was like a really they thought it was ambiguous, but it wasn't. And, like, you could have ended this 5 minutes earlier, and I would have felt better.
They didn't make it clear what the plot was, who, like, the enemy was, like.
Which I think is the point. It wasn't supposed to say, like, here's the side of the political spectrum that we are commenting on. It wasn't, like, choosing one side or the other.
But if this
it was intentionally ambiguous.
Yeah,
the beginning of the movie.
I
the
get
plot
that.
of the movie.
But if this is a movie, I don't know. Like, I didn't understand what... I understand what they were trying to say, but I didn't understand the story that these fictional characters were going through.
Yeah, the character choices, I think, were a little off. It was hard to tell what each person's motivations were.
Yeah.
And just the ending, I thought it wasn't hopeful.
Yeah. Anyways, that's the end of my rant. That was my 2024 rant.
That's fair.
Gotta get that out of our system.
Okay, so that was your worst watched thing?
Yes.
Civil War? All right. Mine,
I wonder if we have the same one next.
Of top or most anticipated or top 3? Do you want to do top 3?
Oh, I have more that I didn't like.
Oh, okay. Go for it. Yeah.
Mean Girls the musical.
You did not like it.
Nope.
Wow. I didn't hate it, but
I hated it.
I guess I didn't put it on my list because I didn't feel like I was the target audience for this.
And you were drugged up from your
and I was
temptation.
I was like, this is great.
I did not like it.
Okay, how come?
The only good part of that movie was Renee Rapp and like the guest stars from the original movie. Yeah. That was like that's where I thought I got my money's worth. Everything else
Rapp,
sucks.
Very talented.
Yes.
She was phenomenal.
Whoever played Katie Heron, I'm so sorry if you're listening or if I meet you one day.
I don't think she is.
You're fine, but like you were not made for that character. Like Lindsay Lohan, like I'm realizing looking back on the OG Mean Girls, Lindsay Lohan was so perfect for it because she embodied this like awkward new girl that stands out, but at the same time she had this like sexual energy that like allowed for this character development. This girl was just too innocent, too pure. So I didn't believe it when she became like this popular girl. So if you've seen the OG Mean Girls, the new one did not live it up. I didn't like the music. Didn't like the music.
That's fair. I remember I'm not singing these songs when I go home. No. Even though like the Renee Rapp,
she's great.
Performances was
she can
phenomenal.
Sing anything.
She was really good, and I still was like, I'm not walking away from this humming those tunes.
Yeah. Last one. I will not go on a full rant, but I would like to hear if you agree with this. Quiet Place, the prequel. I did not care for that movie.
Yeah, that was tough. That actually might be.
Madam Web, I liked even least.
Even less.
Sorry. The espresso is a...
Okay, but you're putting A Quiet Place on there?
I forgot that we saw Madam Web when I made this list.
Yeah.
But I didn't care for the prequel. No.
That's fair. I thought...
I was bored.
It was so disconnected from the original two. And also I just thought... I get that it's an unrealistic thing. It's aliens and it's monsters. So like... It's not supposed to be based in like reality, but one of the things I really don't like about movies is when the characters' choices and motivations are not based on real decision making and real emotion and real, it's like that just was driving the point. And I thought the like it could have been a movie that did not exist within the Quiet Place universe. That those monsters and the concept of like aliens that respond to sounds, that could have been a completely different movie. You could have eliminated that, and there's these two characters who like interact. You know what I mean? So it didn't feel well put together. And
it made me realize what I love about the Quiet Place movies. I don't care for alien movies. Like that's not something I like, but I'm realizing what I loved about those other ones were like the characters, which is amazing because there's not a ton of dialogue given the premise of the movie. And yet they just like, you just fall in love with those characters so fast, and that family, and like following the story of the family and what it says about like fatherhood. Like that was amazing. This movie had nothing to do with that. Yeah.
The character exposition.
And so maybe I should have had different expectations.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, no John Krasinski. It makes sense. The first one especially, and the second one too, but maybe less so. The way that they build the characters and like the exposition of who these people are
great.
Without dialogue, you get to know them like a little bit more intimately than you would a movie that you're constantly hearing the characters say what they think and say what they mean. Like you watch these A Quiet Place movies and it's all about what you observe. So you feel like you know these characters better, and then when things happen in the movie, you're affected by them. Mm-hmm. I was not affected. Like, this is gonna sound mean. Both of the characters in A Quiet Place could have died, and I'd have been like,
yeah, like
I wasn't in love with them. I wasn't like hoping. I wasn't rooting for them.
Nope.
Yeah. All right. That I feel like that's the one we agree on the most. Worst thing we watched.
Yeah. That's enough of the negativity.
Let's move on to. We're gonna do two more things. We're gonna give our top 3 movies of this year. We'll see if we have any overlap, and then our most anticipated movie of 2025, which there's probably a couple. Let's move on to our top 3. Do you want to go first and list your? We're gonna go 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1. So do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
If it had to be a movie, Inside Out 2.
Okay.
We talked about this earlier, not because it was amazing, but out of the movies I saw, it's higher up than lower down. But including the shows we watch, I'm gonna put Mr. and Mrs. Smith. It's either Inside Out 2 or Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I don't know which one I liked better. Maybe because both were a while ago, but I thought Mr. and Mrs. Smith was so good.
To help you decide, my number 3 is Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
No way!
Yeah.
I love you.
It was like out of all the shows we watched, and
it was good.
Like just out of all the things, I enjoyed. Like I was like excited to see those characters, and it wasn't like I just wanted to like. Only Murders is great. Like I do love watching that, but part of it was like guessing the ending.
Yeah.
It like was the excitement in that. And same with like the bear is so stressful. Mm-hmm. I don't know. So just like a lot of the TV shows we watched, like it was great to watch. But Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I like just enjoyed every moment of it. It was so well done.
Even
and,
like it was like
the beginning. The beginning was just as good as the ending.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, and the cinematography, I like. Everything. Dialogue. It was gorgeous to watch. I thought they did great.
I'd seen like Donald Glover in like
dude, he
some
can do
things.
anything.
He's like so phenomenal. And I hadn't seen her as much, but I was like, she's just as good, if not better, than he was. So like, 2 phenomenal actors. It's just, and it's just about us.
Well, and I will say this one had to be on here because it surpassed my expectations. Because I'm not an action girly. I don't love
spy
action
movies.
shows. It doesn't make me like anticipate the next episode. Mm-hmm. So I didn't go in. I was like kind of like, well, it's Donald Glover. Like that'll be good. But I don't care about spy missions. This was awesome. If you haven't seen it and you're married or you're in a relationship, I also love what it said about like, you know what? That is my number 3.
That's your number 3.
Love what it said about relationships and marriage. It was awesome.
Good. We've got our number 3s locked in.
All right.
Together.
Number 3s are locked in.
Do you want to give your number 2?
Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay. My number 2 is Jury Duty.
Wow.
I'm calling it a movie.
Okay.
It is a film. It is a masterpiece.
It is. Yeah, I will say it deserves its own category because
I watched it like a film.
It is a film. It's kind of a documentary.
Yeah.
But not really. It's a lot. It's almost a theater performance.
Yeah. We got to meet Meki this year.
We saw Meki
it has
live.
To be there.
Yeah, for context, what Jury Duty is a show on Prime that we highly recommend watching, where a trial for a some sort of injury case happens, some sort of lawsuit, and a trial happens in which the jury has to be sequestered. The trick on this movie is that one person thinks it's real and everybody else keeps up that this is being filmed as like an experiment, but everybody else is in on it and knows that it's fake, knows what's going to happen. But there's one person who thinks this is real life and is reacting in it as if like it's reality. Yeah, it was so well done, and it's, even though it's like real life, like it's somebody happening live, it's so funny. It's like one of the funniest things we've watched all year.
I loved it. Yeah.
That
Definitely
did not
my number 2.
That did not make my top 3.
That's
although
okay.
That was really good, and that deserves.
So you liked Mr. and Mrs. Smith better than Jury Duty?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hear that.
I felt myself getting sucked in on Mr. and Mrs. Smith way more.
Okay.
Jury Duty, I was like, how do they do that? And
yeah,
like,
that's fair.
It's sort of a project within a project. So.
What was your number 2?
My number 2 was We Live in Time.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm excited to see what your number 1 is.
I thought it's just like 2 wildly skilled and talented people in a movie that has so much emotional pull. And so I sort of went into it with high expectations. I felt like I was going to like it a lot. And I did. Like, it's one thing to like go into a movie and not know what you're going to get. So you have low expectations and then it blows you away.
Mm-hmm. We Live in
Time, I was expecting it to be good because I love both those actors.
Mm-hmm.
And it hit every, emotional point
good.
that I thought it was going to. So it's one that I wish, like, I'm excited to see it at home too. But I'm glad that we saw it in theaters still. Even though it's not like one that you would think is like a movie going experience and like is going to be so encapturing on the big screen. Seeing it in that form was really great, and I'm even more excited to watch it at home. So I felt like that deserved its own place. Yeah. Do you want to give your?
Should we say our number 1s at the same time?
They're not going to be the same.
I know.
Sure. 3, 2, 1.
We Live in Time.
Wow.
Can I talk about mine?
Okay. Yeah, you just
talked about it. It's not a perfect film, but I loved it. I didn't sob seeing it. Like I went in, when you were talking about expectations, I went in ready to cry.
I was also ready for you to cry.
And I didn't. Like for some reason, maybe I'm psycho, but this movie, as sad as the premise is, felt like so warm to me. Like I felt so cozy watching it. Like I just loved like watching their love story, and like we need more love stories. All right. Enough of the action. Enough of the affairs.
No more
we need more
explosions.
love stories.
Yeah.
But I was like looking at this, and I only saw it once this year. I was thinking the same thing. I'm excited to watch it at home. I feel like this is gonna become a comfort movie for me pretty quickly, and also like, and also with you. I think this is the movie I've recommended to people the most this year. And it hasn't been out that long. And I think every time I've seen someone, especially couples in our life, I've been like, have you seen We Live in Time yet? Or anyone who's pregnant, I've been like, have you seen We Live in Time yet? Like, I have just recommended it to so many people, and I keep thinking about it. So that's how I know it was a top one in my list. Like, I keep thinking about it. I'm waiting for the next time I get to see it. So I loved it.
Interesting. Yeah. You just made me think of something too. I can't think of another movie that shows a relationship, like a romantic relationship, where they fall in love and then like also is equally as focused on them being in love and like living out their relationship. Like so many romance movies, like take When Harry Met Sally, it's all about like how they end up together, but it's not actually focused on like what life is like when they are together.
Right.
Same like Nobody Wants This, or movies like that where like they fall in love, but then you don't see what happens after. This is, and like if you just showed like a couple who has a daughter and the mother gets cancer, that wouldn't be that, like, it wouldn't be as cozy or as like emotionally enthralling, because you don't have that backstory of like them falling in love. And if you show just the showing of both in that regard was I think something that like just I hadn't seen.
I think this one said a lot about holding grief and gratitude, which like is so perfect. Andrew Garfield was in it because I love the way he talks about grief, but like you said, like a lot of sad movies, it's like, what the heck? I'm so sad that happened. This is so sad. But this movie like hits you in the face with the grief right away. Like, we know how this is going to end. This sucks. Now what do we do? And that's the reality of grief. This is the reality check. This sucks. What are you going to do with your life now? And so I love that this movie wasn't just, this is really bad, so we're just going to focus on the past and like how we got here. It was, this is really hard. Let's learn more about these characters and how we like got to this beautiful love story. But let's also see what life looks like now. It's not a bucket list movie. It's a beautiful, like, they're obviously grateful for each other, and that's why this hurts so bad. Let's see what life is going to look like. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to be really hard. Like, they're still a married couple at the end of the day. You know, like.
But it's still really beautiful.
Yeah. So it held both grief and gratitude. And I think that's why it felt like a cozy movie to me.
Yeah.
Because that's real life. And it was
Fair.
so good.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your number one.
Well, okay. I'm going to relate my number one to you. My number one was Dune 2.
Because of what it says about grief.
No. One, okay, first of all, it's a movie that I like revived and made me, I already loved going to see movies in the theater and like loved just film experience. But this like even deepened my love for the movie going experience. And that to me was
That's
like,
cool.
oh, wow. Like I was listening to the Real Blend Top 10 podcasts, which was kind of the inspiration for this. And the way that one of the guys described it on there was like, I was so enthralled in that movie and so encaptured that I felt like when I was walking out of the theater, I had sand. I was like finding sand in my pockets. Cool. Like I was so like involved in that movie. But yeah, just like the world building, and it makes me feel like it's, you know, it felt like going to see Star Wars, you know, for the first time, or Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter. Like, it's like this world building that I don't feel like happens very often now, outside of like the Marvel universe. But that's already has such a big base that Dune 2 just felt like a brand new thing. So that was part of it. I also think it's a very, it weirdly is a very, to me, it's a very like biblical movie in the sense of the character of Paul Atreides is like so much like Jesus, but the only way that he's not is that he is a militant, violent figure, you know. And when you look through the Old Testament and you look through the time period in which Jesus came to Earth, and like the Christmas story, which we've spent all of Advent like talking about, a lot of people were expecting a militant deliverer, a you know, a political person, king to come and take down the Roman Empire. And so Dune 2 is like, this is what would happen if that were the case. Obviously that's not a perfect example, but like it's still so cool. Like the fighting and like the characters and the like the war at the end was like, don't get me wrong, that's super entertaining, but it also does not end. It ends as it does not end in a way you wanted it to. It is a warning movie. It is a, you know, the author or the movie, the director, Denis Villeneuve, he even said like the author of the books used it as like a, hey, don't idolize these figures, these like political figures or these militant figures. And that's exactly what people did. And then he wrote Dune Messiah as like a response to that. So anyway, I just felt like it was a movie I felt like I got and I understood, and I also just really enjoyed seeing it. So that's why it made the number one for me. I was going to ask you this and I couldn't figure out my answer. So I'm glad that you answered We Live in Time, because I was going to ask you what your favorite scene was, if you had to pick like a specific moment
from We Live in Time or a movie
just
this year?
From anything that you watched this year. Like what was like
Okay.
oh, have you seen this? And I was either going to pick
Oh, you're going to say what I'm going to say.
the bathroom scene from We Live in Time.
Yep.
Or
that was the first thing that came to my mind.
The gas station bathroom scene from We Live in Time.
That was the scene of the year.
Or I
laughed so hard.
I was going to pick the ending fight in Dune 2, where Timothée Chalamet and Austin Butler go at it.
But no, the birth.
The birth scene is so funny.
So good.
It's like probably the hardest I've laughed.
Yes.
In a movie this year.
Yeah. That was awesome.
Yeah.
That's why that scene is why I keep recommending it to people. The egg, that's not why. But the birth, that's why.
Do you think about that movie when you make eggs?
Yeah, because I tried, if you've seen We Live in Time, I've tried cracking the egg on the counter and it doesn't work. It's worse for me. I lose the egg.
That's funny. Okay. Well, good. I'm glad that we had if we combined our lists, we only have 5 movies. 5 things. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, We Live in Time, Dune,
Jury Duty,
and what was your... Oh, no. Yeah, 4. So we have 2. We're 2 for 2.
Wow, maybe we're married. Maybe we watched most of those together.
That's fair. Okay. That's fun.
Now we know our goal for next year.
Now we know. All right. So our resolution for this year is...
See more movies
in the theater. Also, I'd like to say, like, there are movies this year, like Civil Wars and the Monkey Man situation. That was a bad example, but like, I want to go see more explosions. I just want to go
have fun.
Yeah.
I would like to watch more classics this year.
Okay, that's a good one.
That's usually a goal I have. Yeah.
What time period would you consider classics?
Like, I'm talking, like, we've seen Casablanca, but like we haven't seen a lot of movies around that time. Yeah. And we are very lucky to live by a library that has so many movies. Okay. And so I also want to take advantage of that more.
So watching them on DVD.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Watch them at home. I love when they bring them to the theater, but yeah, we have access to so many of these.
I hadn't realized how few Christmas classics I hadn't seen. Like, I'd never seen Miracle on 34th Street. I'd never seen
White Christmas.
There was one other one I was like, Christmas Story I'd never seen.
Yeah.
So that's something, remind me as we get closer to Christmas 2025. Like,
hey, we can do that for Valentine's Day.
If we haven't seen a lot of classics this year, if we like...
We can have our own advent calendar.
We can make up for it. Yeah, 25 days of Christmas. That'd be insane. Okay.
Cool.
I like that.
This is fun.
That's a good resolution. Thinking about next year too. Do you want to give your most anticipated movies of 2025?
They're not even anticipated. I just picked out of what is coming out.
Yeah,
I'm not that excited.
I've only got 3. I've got 4 that I want to mention, but one of them I'm not really sure on.
I'm really excited. Since you said the Suns game earlier.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the Grammys. Nice. I'm genuinely excited to watch it. I feel like this was the year of girly pop, and so...
Yeah, that'll be big.
I'm excited for some women to win.
When is that? February?
Maybe. I think so. So I'm actually really excited about that. Maybe I'll have a non-gambling pool going.
Yeah. It'll be good.
These were my meh. Like, I'll probably see them.
Okay.
Freakier Friday. Just for the sake of, like, bringing the duo back. Like, I'm excited to see how that goes. And
both of them are back. Jamie Lee Curtis and... Lindsay Lohan?
Yeah. And I was talking to, again, our friend Christine. How many times can we mention her on this podcast? She recently saw a Christmas movie Lindsay Lohan was in. And she had low expectations. Yeah, because it was like a Hallmark movie. And she said, she's awesome. Like, she's such a good actress. Like, and so, yeah, let's give Lindsay some credit. So that'll be fun to see for nostalgic reasons. I'll probably see Snow White. I probably won't pay full price. I'll probably go on a $5 day.
Oh, yeah. I forgot that's coming out.
I do like Rachel Ziegler from the new West Side Story. So
yeah,
I'm excited to see how she is. And I put Wicked and Wicked for Good. I believe the new Wicked comes out at the end of next year. I could be wrong. Yeah. But for anyone listening, I have not seen the new Wicked yet. I'm trying to avoid it at all costs because I've loved the soundtrack since I was a kid. Never saw it live. And so there's a lot of like context holes or like plot gaps I don't have
that you're not
where I'm like, I actually don't know what this is referring to, so we're just gonna see how this plays out.
So you want to see it on stage?
Yes,
first.
I want to see it on stage first before I see the movies. That way, when I'm sad that I'm not seeing it on stage anymore, then I can watch the movies. And so once I can see those, I'm excited. Maybe I'll even wait till the sequel comes out so I can just see them back to back.
That's what I recommended. And you were like, that's too long.
I'm not good with
that's fair.
Patience.
No, that would be a long time.
I'm really excited for the Grammys, and I'm excited to be able to see Wicked and Wicked for Good.
Okay, those are good. I totally forgot Snow White was like a thing. I remember.
Yeah, I just know because I follow her.
Like, oh, they're gonna make Snow White, and I was like, man, these live action remakes are like just
I don't
nonstop.
love the live action, but I like her.
And
this one's probably gonna be dark.
You think so?
I think Snow White, the cartoon, is so dark for a kid's cartoon. So the fact that they're making it live action, like this isn't a cute animal movie. It's not Lilo and Stitch. You know, Lilo and Stitch is probably gonna be sad.
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably gonna be more focused on like animal control and like year? CPS. Yeah, I don't think I can see that one. It's gonna be too real.
We'll see that one. That one will be fine.
No, I don't want to see it.
You don't want to see it at all?
I just will watch the cartoon. The cartoon, nothing's wrong with that.
You can't ruin the cartoon.
That one's dark too. It's hard.
Okay. I'll see it and I'll tell you what I think.
Okay. Tell me how scary Stitch is.
Yeah. Okay, mine are. It's only a couple. Most of them, and the biggest one that I'm excited for is The Bear, the next season.
Oh yeah.
Mostly because I like the way that the third. Is it the third or the second? I think it's the second.
Yeah.
The second season ended, like on a big cliffhanger, and so I'm like, I want to see what happens to the restaurant and how these characters react. It just like it set up the next season so well, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for that. Only Murders 2. I didn't actually put that on my list, but I'm
always
excited.
ready.
Just because I did so well in the guessing this year I'm excited to continue that. But The Bear is officially on my list. There's a new Now You See Me movie. I haven't seen the trailer for it or anything else. I don't even know if it's the same actors, but I loved the first and second one of those. Mm-hmm. If it were to be as good, I would I would love that. I don't have high expectations for it. I feel like it's going to be a money grab kind of third, trilogy movie that doesn't fit with the rest of them. Kind of like A Quiet Place. I don't have high expectations for it, but I just like those movies. Happy Gilmore 2 just got announced.
What?
And
how are they gonna do that?
And Adam Sandler is like, I mean, he's old now. It was such a long time ago. So I don't even really know how they're gonna do that. He's not playing a younger guy though, which I'm glad.
Go ahead.
It's like him as an older man. So that I'm excited for. I think that'll be funny, and I expect them to do that well. And then there's a movie called Mickey 17. I think it's what it's called. It's got Robert Pattinson in it. I have no idea what it's about. I have zero clue, but the poster looks really cool. So I'm excited for that one. Those are my anticipated ones. I saw the trailer for Superman. It looks good, but I'm not like, I wasn't. Some people, I don't know if you talked to anybody about that. Some people were like, "This is gonna be great."
No one I know.
I didn't. I wasn't like.
Not my friends.
It didn't look bad. It looks like a CW movie.
I think there's just been so many disappointments with like DC movies, like DC characters. But you know what? We gave this year a hard time, but there were some good ones.
There were some good ones.
The ones that were good were really good, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2025 is going to be great. I can't wait to watch more movies with you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay.